Nick, hello, it's Friday. Happy Valentine's Day, sir.
You're an idiot. I can't believe you told me Happy Valentine's Day.
So, are you going to wash the Batmobile and take the missus out on a nice steak dinner night?
I tell you what, 214 days with no rain, and we got rain all day yesterday. So my ride is not looking good. So for all you off-roaders out there, the LX470 finally saw some rain. I took a picture. I was going to make a joke on Instagram.
It's finally living its true.
It's like, hey, yeah, it didn't even struggle in the rain, Robert.
It didn't nothing. It didn't give you no hard time or anything.
I mean, come on, it's an off-roader. I got big tires on it.
Soon to be a bug-out machine, but we'll get into that later in the show. Let me ask you about rain. You said how many days without rain?
214, basically.
214 straight days with no rain?
Well, measurable, right?
Okay.
So you can get like a sprinkle, but yeah, basically 214 days is what I read. I mean, I don't really stay up on it, to be honest.
This is so funny. This is organic, guys. Welcome back to the podcast, the best car podcast in the world. But real quick, we have not had a week without at least 2 days of rain in Central Texas since the year started. So from the 1st of January to today, at minimum 2 days of rain every single week. We had a snow blizzard. There's another one coming now. It literally feels like 19 outside. This is so bizarre for Central Texas, at least in my opinion. So I haven't been able to go outside and wash the car. I got a slew of hyperclean products. I mean, my wheels are caked. I mean, you could literally take a ruler.
Hey, you're gonna have to. We don't use excuses here. Gonna have to go with a rinseless and waterless wash in your garage. Get this thing handled.
I don't have room in my garage. Is a problem. That's the problem.
Are you one of those guys that has too much junk in your garage?
No, I have workout equipment, and that's really it. And it's just other miscellaneous things. But I do hate people that have really messy garages, which that might be a good
so tell me, do you got the Rogue CrossFit setup in your?
I don't have a CrossFit setup. I don't like that. But I do have a complete power rack and a couple of other accessories.
Yeah, just getting jacked in your garage.
100%. Yeah. Although, quite honestly, we started going back to a commercial gym just because I missed it. I missed the big box feeling. And they just have a lot of stuff. So
yeah, I agree. There is something, if you grew up going to gyms, there's always going to be something about gyms, right?
Yes, 100%.
So you and I have been in tons of MMA gyms, tons of jiu-jitsu gyms. I actually have one of the guys who used to be on my team here. He's going to be in a jiu-jitsu tournament this weekend, I think.
Nice.
Sent me a text. And, at the end of the day, you might have to move the equipment to get it. If the weather stays like this, you can't just let your car get screwed up.
That was going to be my next thing. I was like, now I'm looking at putting it on Marketplace. Like, who wants to buy this? I know somebody in the neighborhood is going to buy this. Like, I'm just going to get rid of it.
My car's got to get washed.
100%. And the wife's, man. Like, I want to clean hers. Like, hers is a 2024. It's new and shit. Like, it's unacceptable because hatchbacks, SUVs, you can't go anywhere and actually get the back clean. It's literally you have a clean car and then you get to the back and it's like just dookie diaper in the back. It's just filthy.
100%. 100%.
All right, man. You are in Nevada. I got a story to start off the podcast today. It's got everybody in an uproar. And by everybody, I mean the 5 people that love Cybertrucks, who all have.
You're gonna if you clip that, people are gonna be like, "Oh, what are you talking about?"
I called it the Cybercroc on that clip that I put out.
I saw that. It was hilarious.
All right, so Tesla, of course, got the self-driving. We're looking at doing a full self. Is it taxis? I think that Elon's been talking about.
Yeah, robo. I mean, come on, man.
He's a wild man. I love that wild man. I don't care what people say.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to take everything he says about cars, like, literally with half a grain of salt. Like, none of this stuff comes true.
And if it is, it'll be in about a decade or so.
If not two.
If not two. Nick and I won't be here is what we're trying to say. It'll be another generation of podcasters.
Robo-taxis will be here in, the year 2740.
Yeah, you're going to have Will Smith's, grandson doing the next iRobot, talking about or whatever the hell that movie was.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a crash. It was an individual who was trying to merge and had it in self-driving, and it didn't merge after the lane was going to end, cause an accident. So now here's where I also want to pose that, but also give you kind of a conspiratorial take on my end. Because the guy took to Twitter right away and essentially said, let me pull up the article here. This is his statement, which he tagged Elon, I think, in Tesla. Don't make the same mistake I did. Pay attention. It's easy to get complacent now, the driver, Jonathan, said on social media, tagging X and Musk, or tagging Musk on X. Do you think, because you can't have full self-driving, right? You probably know way more about this than I do. You can't just not have your hands on there and not pay attention and let it do its thing.
No, you have some systems. Your eyes have to be in a certain position or it'll stop. Some have to have the weight of your hand on the steering wheel. So everybody's kind of doing it a little bit differently. But this is now an interesting, not to get into your conspiracy or what you're going to say, but here's what I would think. who covers it? This is why self-driving is going to be much longer than everybody thinks. Is like, who's going to cover this? If this guy can somehow prove that his car was in self-driving and something happened, is he responsible? Is State Farm responsible? Is Allstate responsible? Is Elon and Tesla? I know that it's going to fall on this guy as the owner, but if he has an actual attorney that's good at their job, you can make a real argument that Tesla is negligent here.
So when somebody like this creates an uproar and attacks, self-driving or Tesla or Elon individually or as a whole, whatever, my mind goes like right now, any excuse you can have to go after Tesla if you don't like him or Elon for being in the helmet or for what he's doing is a reason to just go, gangbusters on it. So I think to myself, and I read it, of course, you don't wish accidents on anybody. You hope the technology that you purchase works the way that they told you it's going to work. But this is a really bad look for self-driving and going full self-driving. I think this year, at the end of the year, where they're going to do it.
Well, dude, the fact that they run into ambulances with their lights on has or get stuck in a crosswalk. And, I mean, if I'm on a straight freeway and I can take my hands off and it's like I'm on a long road trip, you're going like I-40, you know how I-40 is just like straight for 8 billion miles across the country, or to 10 or whatever. Okay, man, like there's a conversation for it. But when you actually need to be doing stuff, this stuff malfunctions. I mean, because you got to remember there's an argument for what self-driving should be, and it's actually a very good argument for self-driving. So one of the most popular paths in Las Vegas is airport to the Strip, airport to the Strip. You can repeat the same drive a million times, take the same turns to get you onto the Strip, to get you into a hotel, right? So you come out this loop, you get onto the Strip, but when things are predictable is when computers are good.
Yeah. Right.
Okay? If a ball comes out in front of your Tesla in the neighborhood, it doesn't know about that because driving through your neighborhood, they didn't do there's a bike in front of you, there's a ball. They couldn't program that into the computer. Now, I get it. People are going to say, well, it'll learn and this and that. Well, if it runs over a kid, it'll learn and go, hey, don't run over this kid in the neighborhood anymore. But at the end of the day, computers are good at repeatable things. And so what you got to imagine, you have to program all of these incidents into the software to make the software super, effective. And I don't think people have ever talked about that part.
And I love, because I've heard these arguments from a lot of people who are like, no, like the whatever it is, the LiDAR, radar, the cameras, all the sensors, like it just works really well. Like you've seen it, be able to avoid. I saw somebody making this point, I read it, I can't remember, where they said how many people had been, essentially missed or not hit from a Tesla or autonomous vehicle because it moved faster than a person would have. I don't know how they came to that conclusion, but
sure,
that's
exactly. No, exactly. How did they come to that conclusion?
Right.
You don't drive through your neighborhood and just clip kids all the time. So you've obviously dodged some kids in your neighborhood. 100%. So did they call? It's like
that's for GTA purposes only.
Yeah, it's like political polling. They're like, yeah, we polled this many people. I've never been polled.
You ever been polled? I've never been polled.
Yeah, wow. So I don't know who the people are that they're polling, right? So everybody's made that joke is like, anybody that would sit on the phone and get polled, do you really want their opinion on anything?
Granted, you're one of 6 people that come through on my phone, so I mean, no one's getting through anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So, when I look at this, I say the same thing all the time. Is like, is it okay for us to just say this technology is not everything it's cracked up to be at this point in 2025? Like, does it have to be some grand conspiracy that you're against the technology? It's like, no, man. I have brought cars from Cadillac, from Range Rover, from Lincoln, from Ford, from Chevy, from Toyota, home from a dealer, and the sensors going off because there's a problem with the sensors in the front bumper, the sensors in the rear bumper, and a sensor has to be replaced and a car has 3 miles on it. I've had that happen with every brand. You, I'm sure, have seen things at shops and you go, why is that thing already malfunctioning? So we know these systems, number one, are not perfect. Number two, are increasingly fallible because they're adding more and more tech on top of all of these systems. And as you know, as any of us that have iPhones compared to a flip phone, I never had a problem making a call on a flip phone. It made calls. There's times I get on my iPhone, it starts bugging out when I'm trying to make a call. Why? Because there's so much tech stacked on top of the phone that it starts to malfunction even the simplest things like your text messages, your email, or your phone calls, right? Which is really the reason most of us have our phone above a certain age, right? So again, they're stacking so much tech, and everybody say, well, just trust the process. In my lifetime, the more tech you stack onto stuff, the more it has bugs and malfunctions.
Now, I know at this point we're preaching to the converted with the audience listening to this. So, I mean, they're probably just like, yeah, gassing us up, keep going, yelling at their cars, like, yeah, give that company, give them the business. But let me ask you personally, are you rooting for the day where we can see more self-driving autonomous cars on the road than we do people driving them?
I don't think I'm, to be honest with you, I don't think I'm rooting.
I'm just going to say I'm not. I mean,
yeah, I'm not rooting anyway. I guess I'm just kind of back to, I just want to do what's common sense in the moment. Mm-hmm. If somebody shows me technology from an autonomous thing and goes, this thing's been driving around Houston, which is like crazy to drive around. We've had these cars with no drivers drive every inch of Houston for the last 5 years. They haven't even gotten into a fender bender, and we've had them change lanes and do everything. I go, okay, let's have a conversation about it. My guess is within about 7 minutes, they're going to have an accident inside of Houston.
I'll take things that'll never happen for $5,000.
Yeah. I mean, with frontage roads and this off-ramp and that off-ramp and all these freeways. And people live in cities like that. Philly's not the easiest to get around. New York's not the easiest to get around. You get down into downtown Miami, they've had to, think about where cars can go and can't go. I just think everybody, to answer your question, I'm not rooting anyway. What I'm saying is, I am just like, when something works, I give it the thumbs up. When something doesn't work, I give it the thumbs down and go, hey, man, it's just not working right now. Will it work in the future? Maybe, but it's not working now, so why sit here and lie about it and act like we're on the cusp of everybody not driving? Come on, man. We're not on the cusp of any of that. If we were, Apple and all those companies wouldn't have bailed out. They wouldn't have bailed out. You got to admit that. They got money to burn, and they're like, self-driving cars, yeah, we tried it, we're out.
All right, a fence rider. I like it. Moving on. Just kidding. I'm just joking. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm more of a, and I get like at already 35, I get the phrase, all right, it sounds like a real boomer take. I'm like, I'm 35 for starters. All right. Second, I just think that it doesn't make sense at the time. Like you said, can it later? Yes. Maybe. I just don't feel myself rooting for it to get to that point, and also just don't logically see it getting to that point. But
yeah, where I see it logically is if you actually build the roads where the car rides on the roads with only sensors. Purpose built. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, so we have the loop here at the convention center. It's all, Elon built it underneath the convention center. That's purpose built. Guess what? They're not self-driving. You have drivers in those Teslas in the loop that only goes on the same path every time. That tells me how much they believe in it. Come on.
Hey, what else is purpose built? Hyperclean, hypercleanstore.com. That's professionalism right there.
Yeah. That is an ad read.
Yeah, exactly right. Not really an ad read, but kind of. Welcome to the number one automotive show in the world, where every Monday we give you the best of car markets, trends, and more importantly, a good hang with Nick and myself. Yeah. And maybe in the future, callers, man. Maybe one day we're taking callers, and we're going to be those guys that are just like...
Doug from Philadelphia.
Hey, man, I got this 2002 Corvette. Like, what is it worth?
First time, long time.
I can't wait for somebody to tell me first time.
Did you ever listen to Jim Rome?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Thanks for the time, and thanks for the vine, Jim.
I can't wait for that day where people are calling and getting Nick's fucking opinions on their cars.
100%. I got to tell you something. We had people tell me Subaru never built the wagon. So we got a lot of people that say a lot of things.
I mean, I gave the quick little spiel. Please tell me, what was that too? Did you say something that made them say that, or they just commented that? Or was it?
No, again, when we're having a wagon conversation, people tell me wagons don't work in the U.S., and then people give all of these examples, and then they don't talk about the company that I think had the most quarters profit in a row, Subaru, in history, I think. And they're like, well, yeah, you can't call the Outback a wagon. It's like, well, I've owned one. It's pretty fucking wagony. If you want to tell me that it's the same as a Ford Explorer, I can put them next to each other and you can see the dimensions are not the same. But if it fits your argument, that's what you say. Like, well, people don't buy wagons. Well, I don't know. Subaru's made like a shit ton of money and been profitable for decades. What are you talking about? Well, it's not a wagon. It's like, oh, okay.
all right.
Now we can't really have a discussion.
Yeah, right. Well, now we can't have fun anymore talking about cars.
Yeah, thanks for coming, dude. About. Dodge Magnum, the first year it was out, sold 50,000 units. Yeah, but what you don't understand, it's like, no,
It's so weird things that have like a certain like spot in your heart. The Magnum had a really, and that sounds really weird when you put those sentences together, but the Magnum had a
Hey,
very special
Rob
place.
at Clutch Culture.
Happy Valentine's Day, audience. Had a very special. I mean, dude, if they would have kept the Magnum going, like the SRT, the Hellcat 392, a wide body Magnum, dude,
You
just watch
can
them bring that
see
back.
the sales fall off if you research the sales of those from the beginning to when they canceled it. You can line up their marketing almost exactly. So this is the other thing we have to get across that I think maybe in that wagon conversation we didn't get across. Marketing dollars matter.
Yeah.
Otherwise, companies wouldn't spend billions of dollars in marketing. So if you wanted to sell more wagons, you know what you do? You market the wagon. So Magnum comes out. They have all these marketing dollars behind it. When it launches, they sell 50,000 of them. They start to diminish talking about the wagon, and the sales numbers go down to the floor. It like blows people's minds. Okay? Why do these people, these car companies, pharmaceutical companies, name the company, why do they market? Because it works.
Because it works.
And so everybody's like, well, what you don't understand, it's like, guys, the CTV wagon, the original, just the one that wasn't the CT, the special edition, here's the craziest thing people don't realize. You had to walk a dealer lot to even know they had them. Mm-hmm. And then you had to be like, yeah, I'm in the market for a wagon. Can I see that one? They didn't market it. So don't tell me it didn't work. They didn't market it.
That's insane. Man, I wanted to mention, Subaru. We were talking about that before the Magnum and the CTS. So somebody also in that same, which by the way, something we've learned, people love the Lexus Toyota conversations, and a close second has to be wagons. Anytime a wagon is mentioned,
People love it. And me too, by the way.
Yeah, well, no, me too, which is I'm so glad that we're kind of finding out like just how many like real nerds are out there about obscure things I would consider guys like, obscure things in the car world. But somebody commented, man, wish they would have made an STI Outback. And I thought to myself, that's not a thing. Because sometimes, other countries obviously get things that we don't. Sure. And I never ever heard that. Do you know there's an STI Outback?
So I think I've seen one, but certainly I haven't done the deep dive on that. No.
So I looked into it, and I don't know if they did it previous to 2024, but because, and also maybe we talked about it, maybe we didn't, about the cars that were being retired. They're retiring the Outback. So Japan, to celebrate its 30th year and its soon to be retirement, created 500 STI Outbacks last year.
That's awesome.
That is so cool.
And what? They're only in Japan?
Yes, and I don't know the full specs of it, and it kind of sounded like it was going to be or it turned out to be more of an ST, like ST.
Why are they getting rid of the Outback in Japan?
I don't know. I didn't do the deep dive, so I started reading that like as the article was like, as Outback reaches its sunset, Japan builds 500 STI, which was like, it was STI suspension, it was a little bit of an appearance package, so I don't know what the full like specs of the car was, but just that thought, I was like, oh, so I went back to the comment section, I was like, funny enough, look up the STI Outback in Japan, and anyway, here we are. Why would you get rid of it? Good question. I don't know. That seems like such a good car to always have.
Well, maybe they just don't have enough of what's the joke about Outbacks and who buys them? Maybe they just don't have enough of those people over there.
Seems like at every corner they're everywhere. I don't know what you're talking about.
We do not want to get canceled on this podcast, so we're going to...
You can't cancel me. We created this monster. Only we can take it out.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to Google that real quick just while we're on the topic. And I see Subaru to end sales of Legacy Outback in Japan. There's a ton of articles on it, but obviously you got to dig in there because they they bury the lead kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm sure the sales numbers have dipped.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say this, but again, going back to the original part of this conversation, there is so many cool things they could have done with wagons across a lot of brands. I mean, we all remember Acura's, wagon. Let's be honest. If they had a wagon now, at least they'd have some cool factor because they're struggling completely as a brand. I mean, they have no identity. Nobody knows what they. And I one of my favorite cars I ever owned was a CL Type S Acura. It was great, fast, a lot of room, 2-door. It was a great car to own. Acura has a wagon. You're telling me they don't have a little cool factor if they put some marketing dollars around it? I just don't agree with that.
Yeah, that's such a shame. Maybe I think in the future, as we kind of see the pendulum swinging the other way, which leads into the next story of manufacturers, because you made a really good point where you said everyone's currently they've been yo-yoing for so long about what do I do, how do I shift, what moves do I make, where do I put my marketing dollars? I'm sure it's a constant conversation in these big manufacturer brands, right? That the people are just kind of like, okay, let me just wait maybe to see if something changes for the positive.
Sure.
So BMW, and I'm not going to call you fanboy. The last clip I made was you saying, whoa,
Yeah,
no,
I'm
no,
not
no, no, I'm not a fanboy.
yeah.
You just like him. You made money on him. I get it. But they're keeping the V8, right? I read they're keeping the V8, at least in the States. That's
Yep.
a good sign to me, right, of things to come for BMW and other manufacturers.
Yeah, I think you got to look at, Porsche, BMW. BMW still pretty heavily on electric. I don't think I think they may be parsing backwards, saying, "Hey, we're not going to go as strong." But, I posted some things from the Toronto Auto Show, where one of our colleagues was at last night, and BMW is still pretty heavily, marketing their electric line. But I think you're seeing companies realize something. Electric only works if they can sell them.
Yeah.
ICE engines only work if they can sell them, right? And what everybody's seeing is you have all this electric inventory going up and up and up and being tougher and tougher to sell, and the adoption not happening as fast as they think it should, and this and that. Does BMW really have a choice but to keep the V8? I mean, I'm glad they're doing it, but I think some of this stuff is like they're going, hey guys, these are the things we know we can sell. BMW's made such headwind in their brand, selling more cars than ever before, being more profitable than ever before, largely due to their X lineup, X1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. I don't think they can go backwards. I just don't think corporate will allow that, right? You can't just magically say we're going to lose money for the next 10 years. So I think it's all just they're finally getting hit in the face with, we can't make money on EVs. We need to at least keep some things going that we have here.
Yeah, and you've mentioned this too about how many certain cars lose so much money, right? I think we've mentioned Rivian, a couple of other ones where they lose so much per car on these EVs. And somebody commented in that wagon one about, I didn't know the brand, I guess it's Chinese wagon car. So I looked it up just briefly to familiarize myself with what it looked like. And the first headline was, this car loses $35,000 per car.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Tesla has struggled to make money. If you look into their balance sheet, Rivian underwater on every vehicle, basically. I think they're going to reverse that. I am cheering on a company like Rivian because I think their build quality, the give a shit factor of building a nice, decent vehicle is there with them. I don't root against these companies, but you got to remember something. If there's no long tail of making money and you're not that profitable on the front end of the car, you become Nissan. I mean, you become Nissan, where they don't make money, and they go, well, we're not making money. Why are we not making money? Well, nobody makes money on your cars. You sell them to rental fleets, and there's no money to be made. And so the EV question is, can I sell a $60,000 EV and make 30 grand on it? The answer right now today is no, right? Because you have all these hands in the middle. Even if you go direct to consumer, they can't find a way to be profitable, cutting everybody out. So now put a manufacturer and their dealer network and their wholesalers and everybody in between the consumer. How the hell can you make money if the direct-to-consumer doesn't make money?
We've talked about Nissan and the Honda merger for the last couple of weeks now, and I almost didn't bring it up today because we've talked about it so much, but then I see, it's all kind of falling apart. So I don't know if you have any hot takes on
Yeah, I mean,
why.
the reason it's falling apart is because Honda's like, you're going to do things our way.
Yeah.
Let me be clear. You guys don't know what you're doing. We know what we're doing. You're talking about a very cultural thing where we're bigger than you. You guys don't know as much as we do. We're going to tell you what to do. And look, man, you got a lot of egos inside of car brands. Okay, you got a lot of people making a lot of money at the executive level. They're not going to take kindly to be pushed around. And there's no doubt Honda was just like, and I'll say this, if Nissan's been telling the truth about their cash reserves and where they think they're going to go, I think the Honda thing still goes through. I think this is posturing. Well, they're going to have to do something. And I mean, I heard the Foxconn thing and all this other kind of crap. And I go, some government somewhere will step in and say, Nissan, you're going to do business with Honda. That's what I would guess would happen here. Okay. I could be absolutely wrong, but I would say This is now posturing for Nissan to act like they're backing out so they can say, stop pushing us around at the executive level. We do have some good things going on at Nissan. Please stop yelling at us and telling us what to do. I'm guessing is probably what this is about.
Well, you know who's really trying to make a lot of money, or at least trying to make up for the fact they haven't been making a lot of money recently, is Jeep/Stellantis. So some Jeep owners are being hit with pop-up ads inside of their cars, and it's all part of Stellantis' plan to make an extra $20 billion a year, reports Fortune. Now, can you imagine getting
Buy this fleshlight? Go to fleshlight.com. They're going to do affiliate marketing.
That would have been a better ad than essentially, hey, would you like to extend your car's warranty? Which is what the fucking ad was. You get it in calls, you get it in text messages, emails, now in your very infotainment. Hey, would you like this Flex Care program?
Here's my question. Is that legal?
I don't know, but they're calling it a glitch because it sounds like it wasn't legal, and it's a glitch now.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. Stellantis is going to do everything they can to make money besides make better vehicles. That doesn't seem to be part of the corporate turnover
Hurts
here.
my heart.
You know, I don't know why. Again, you're always going to sound like you're beating a dead horse here when you just speak common sense. Just build better cars. Don't tell me there was a Wagoneer at the Toronto Auto Show last night. $136,000. $136,000. They've never built 3 cars put together worth $136,000. Like, how's one going to cost that? I mean, I'm asking this question honestly. Like, why? We obviously know they were trying to make quick buck here. Okay, it wasn't a glitch. Let's all say that out loud. It wasn't a glitch. You were trying to get suckers to hit yes, get them bought in, make you some quick money. Cool. Fine, let's move that to the side. Why is your plan not to, A, cancel a bunch of vehicles nobody wants, B, start to make good vehicles? It doesn't seem like, to me, that's much of a crazy thought.
No, it's not a crazy thought, right? But also when we talk about it out loud, or you're with your buddy at a bar or whatever, you're talking about cars, and you ask each other, or you ask, your buddy, why can't XYZ just build a better car? And you've had some rants on this in the past where, like, certain manufacturers for years, literally decades and decades, have these same problems. And then these same problems just lead to an overall worse product altogether. Like, before 100%. The product was good, had a couple glitches, and now it's just like altogether it's gone to shit.
Yeah, and there's a... If you really talk to guys that turn around manufacturing operations, one of the things is car manufacturers across the globe, except for maybe companies on the level of Toyota and Honda in that price point, okay, let's call it the sub $100,000 cars, Toyota and Honda have spent their careers as companies digging to the bottom of a problem and then rebuilding it properly from the bottom up. What a lot of Stellantis, Ford, and Chevy do is they surface grind the problem just enough to make it passable, but it's still a gremlin in the next generation. And then they surface grind it to get it through that generation. And so it just builds upon itself. And then you have big blow-ups. You have companies making less money. Ford has this really badly in their input cost. They have the highest input cost of any manufacturer, because they haven't gotten their supply chain under control. By the way, that's been like 25, 30, 40, 50 years. I mean, because they just get by. They get by. Instead of saying, we have this problem, Dodge being an example of electrical problems. Dig to the bottom of the problem, rebuild it, do it better. They're just not going to do that. And that's just not who they are. And again, now they're going to just send you fleshlight ads, so they can get an affiliate.
Be a better offer than do you want this Flex Care extended warranty? I should say also, we want to preface by saying that rant that Nick just gave, we don't mean to offend the open mic powertrain engineers that might be listening to our clip, who have a lot more knowledge, and they are sorry that they are that much smarter than we are, and they're voicing their opinions on the internet. Amen.
Hashtag Cleveland.
I'm so sorry that you're that much smarter than us and the fans that are arguing with you inside of the comments. Still,
yes.
7 days later.
And other people that could be engineers that you don't know are engineers.
But I'm an engineer, and I'm smarter than you. Like you, moron.
Yes. Hardo alert.
Yeah, for sure. Again, for second week in a row. Hey, we're not a finance show, Nick, but I thought I'd ask you a question out of left field to see if you had any input on it. If you don't, you can just be like, move along.
Yeah.
But have you heard of Defiance ETF?
No.
Okay, so I hadn't either. I thought this was interesting. They've been around for a little while. We'll call it like I think 2 or 3 years, maybe a little bit longer. And what they're aiming to do is they launch ETFs essentially, and they're
Yeah.
trying to. I'll read you kind of here the synopsis. Defiance ETFs is excited to introduce Battle Shares exchange traded funds, an innovative suite of ETFs designed to capture competitive market dynamics and capitalize on strategic market rivalries within leading industries. The suite will feature a range of distinct ETFs, each crafted to help investors benefit from evolving market competitions. And it goes to the first one essentially is going to be Tesla versus Ford. You know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
really interesting concept here where this actively managed fund embodies market competition, highlighting the dynamic rivalry between an advisor that believes the industry of disruptors like Tesla and a legacy competitor like Ford. The fund strategy involves leveraging, and it kind of explains like what the whole idea is. But they plan on releasing more of these ETFs where they're
So
putting
basically, they're going to short one company and invest in the other company,
exactly,
basically.
yeah.
So
So they're gonna,
I mean, again, why don't you do Tesla versus BYD? Because that's the
not the
big
name of the
issue here.
game here.
It's not the name of the game. It's like, yeah, no. I would say this is not investment advice.
No, of
But
course, of
yeah,
course.
we're not trying to get sued by somebody who's a powertrain engineer. But I would say this. This would be one of those things that I think people will buy into and think there'll be a lot of money. My guess long term, this is probably not something that does very well compared to just investing in the stock market, through an ETF. I think it's interesting if they're going to play Tesla against Ford. There's a real argument that if you know what you're doing algorithmically and all that kind of stuff, that you could definitely get some quants in a room and figure this all out and figure out how to squeeze a few bucks. But are you going to outperform the stock market? We see that very few things do that.
Yeah, the summary of the strategy involves leveraging the long position of Tesla, generally targeting plus 200 for the fund's net assets, paired with a leveraged short position on Ford, generally targeting negative 100% of the fund's net assets.
Just so we're clear, when we did this and I said, a lot of things don't outpace the stock market, somebody's going to be like, well, I bought in a video and it's $3 and now it's, so it's like, okay, relax. We're just, we're not financial experts.
Nope, it's in the news. It involves cars. It involved cars, which is why I brought it up, everybody. Relax. No, I thought it's interesting. I think we're gonna run into more of these future speculative kind of opportunities where people are gonna make some good moves and make waves in the headlines, and then a ton of people will lose their asses, and you won't even hear about them.
Yeah, 100%. It's like all the people that tell you, man, Bitcoin's at 100,000. It's like, yeah, but you don't own any of it. And if you did, you bought it at like you bought it at barely, you made $1 a coin. Like, relax.
I wish I had some. I had Bitcoin back in the day, and now I'm like, well, I'll just not think about what I had before. I think about it. I just rather not think about it.
Yeah. You could have a bigger garage. You could be washing your car when it rains 2 days a week.
Wow, way to bring it back.
I know. Look, that's. Hey, I wear a big hat, Rob. You know what they say.
Professional, yeah. Big hat, big fucking
big
jokes.
brain.
So thanks for waxing poetic for a little bit on ETFs, and maybe somebody listening. This is what's going to happen. Somebody listening is going to go and do a deep dive in it, and then the rest of us are just going to be like, whatever, silly idea, and they're going to come back and be like, guys, I made a killing on that segment.
Yeah, 100%. Like some like mathematician's going to be like, you know what I did?
I ignored Nick and Rob's advice, and I went all in.
I'm a powertrain engineer.
Good times. I feel like we've been really racing this episode. Like we're just on it today. I don't know if it's a Valentine's Day energy or what.
Yeah, I know. 4 energy drinks. What'd you have?
I always have to have one on stack. I'm not gonna give the brand, because maybe we want to partner up with somebody. If I should have a fucking.
Do you have a car energy drink? Reach out to us,
dude. You know what I'm seeing making a comeback? NOS energy drinks.
Yeah,
I see them everywhere.
Yeah, you've been in the workout game for a while. Do you remember Ultimate Orange, the original formula, those types of things, like Red Line, all that kind of.
Red Line sent me to the hospital. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah. Red Line, that founder I think founded Bang Energy. That guy's made a lot of money in the beverage business. But yeah, man, there used to be some people talk about energy drinks now. When it was completely you could use like meth in your formula. Basically, it was really something back in the
Yeah,
day.
no,
Ultimate
Jack.
Orange. Hey,
I think Jack
You
3D.
took one scoop of Ultimate Orange and you would like run through a brick wall.
Oh,
Like just
literally.
100%. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. That's what
you
I'm
would just
saying.
crash out before the term crash out was really a thing on the internet. You would
Yeah,
just crash out in the gym,
hundred
running into
percent.
the lockers room, just
Yeah,
pounding your
just
head on.
breaking bars over your head. Like, man,
Just
let's get this
Bill
workout in.
Goldberg before he goes out to the ring, give himself a concussion style.
100%. Ultimate
Good
Warrior
time.
just shaking the turnbuckle, in your gym.
Macho Man just oh yeah,
Yeah,
just shaking in the
100%.
back.
Hey, how about Netflix and WWE?
Yeah, I actually watched like 5 minutes of the debut of Raw on
They
Netflix.
brought Hogan back?
He got booed when he came out. I don't know the whole story behind it, but they did not give him a
Yeah.
good welcome.
Yeah, hey, I'll just say this. I took Bret the Hitman Hart's glasses to a show and tell once. Just saying. Just saying.
His
I caught him.
actual glasses?
Yeah, he had these like glasses he wore and he
That's
would throw them
awesome.
on.
Yeah.
Just saying. I
You have
mean,
him still?
hell no. I don't know where any of that shit's at.
No, he's lying. He's got him on a man.
I got him at I got him at my house, like it's right in the living room.
Hell yeah,
Like, hey,
hell
that's
yeah.
Bret the Hitman Hart.
I'm the Hitman Heart now. You telling your wife, I'm the Hitman Heart now.
It's Valentine's Day.
Giddy up. All right. Random, but I really like this vehicle. Reports of the new Honda Passport. The new design. I mean, there was a previous design.
Yeah.
I don't think it's changed all that much. The one maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, I think it's changed dramatically. But we were talking about this previously, or a little bit before the show. The pricing is getting upwards of over $55K, but it's
Yep.
still not even close to what would be its next competitor, like what, the 4Runner?
Yeah, so Forerunner's what? I mean, for the one you'd want 67 starting price.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I mean, tax, title, everything, in most states you're at about a $75,000, TRD Pro type of price tag.
Do you think that? I mean, Honda. We're just talking about Honda and Nissan, right? Like they know what they're doing. They're making good decisions. They're giving people what they want. Because I don't ever really hear people complaining about these vehicles. Like usually when people buy them, they're like, "Yeah, it's great," and they just kind of hang on to them, and I never hear any bad things about them.
Yeah, no, I think I would say this. It's going to be hard to
price.
it's going to be hard to overtake Toyota on things like the 4Runner. They just got a legacy into that actual vehicle. But I'll tell you this. I don't know very many people that want to pay with tax, title, everything $75,000 for a 4Runner. Now, I know people are going to do it, so let's make that clear. I understand that. But people that are on the fence that maybe go to the Honda dealership that's 2 stores down and see, this new Honda and they go, "Hey, maybe I can get into it with incentives. I'll find a way to get into it for $52,000 and I'm 20 grand under what I would pay for a 4Runner if it's capable." By these pictures, look, Honda's letting you know it's capable to go through the mud because everybody goes off trail, when they got their 4Runner.
It is ready. It is ready to go through all the trails on your way to the mall.
Yeah, 100%. Do you have a lot of trails between you and Whole Foods?
Well, actually, I do, as a matter of fact.
And just so don't make jokes, Nick. I do actually.
You know what? I just noticed this has one of the best features that Nick absolutely loves, and is a huge stamp that says Passport on the back of this car.
Oh
Look
yeah,
at that thing.
you know it's a Passport because look at that badge.
For somebody who loves badges, we've been through this before. That is egregiously large, bold.
Have you seen the Sequoia badges?
Not on the new
It
one.
makes you want to rear end one. That's what it makes you want to do. You're like, what the hell is this on there for? So again, I do think there is a place. Like let's say this about any automaker who's, whether it's Honda, this would be a good place for Dodge. This would be a good place for Ford. This would be a good place for Chevy. Going directly after the 4Runner market, but doing it price-wise, not building a vehicle and charging the same for the 4Runner. The only way you're going to disrupt the market is to be less, right? Let's just be fair about that. You could build the same quality vehicle. You don't have the history with it. You don't have the 4Runner history. To me, if this is what Passport does and they start to do it well and they do it well for 2, 4, 6, 10 years, they can take some market share because the price, to me, I just don't know how anybody defends the prices of 4Runners at this point. I just don't know how you defend it. It doesn't matter how much I like it or don't like it. And I know people that love them. And I've also had people come back to me going, I just can't pay $70,000 for that car. I mean, it's just what it is.
Dude, I mean, that is not even nearly as big as a Passport one. Let's be
Just
real.
so we're clear, doesn't that make you want to rear end a Sequoia, though?
Doesn't make me love it, but then I look at the front and I'm like, okay, it's forgiven. It's forgiven. This thing's awesome from the front.
Yeah, no, I actually like the Sequoia a lot. I just think, why do you have to remind me I'm driving a Sequoia? I bought the thing.
That one doesn't even look good. Honestly, how do you feel about this versus like the embossed, like the Passport was, where
Look, what's the Chevrolet one?
those not watching, he's just shaking his head.
What's the Chevrolet one where they've like stamped it into the metal? It just says Chevrolet real big on the tailgate.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh
Or
God.
F-150, right? F-150 is big on that.
Yeah, so like the big thing for me was some of these either have stamped it into the metal or they've put pins so it's not double-sided tape anymore, so you can't rip them off because there'll just be holes there. Like all of that. Look, man, can I get a package where none of that stuff is on there?
Can I get the package that already has the American flag on the F-150 and Boston inside? That's what I want. That's what I want. We're very different individuals.
Folds of honor.
Let's go. Yeah, doesn't look good though for Toyota. Like that's such a nice car. Like you go from the front all the way to the back and you see that and you're like, well, those letters are like 3 inches deep
come on
the back. That's not good.
I'm telling you, if you drive behind one and you think how I think, it's like, let's just run into this dude. And hopefully the body shop doesn't put it back on there.
If I had my energy drink in when you said makes you want to rear into one of them, I would have spit it all over my computer. That was good. Nick's quick feet today or something else.
I know. I've had 17 energy drinks.
Are you really an energy drink guy though?
I every now and then. Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
okay. You strike me as somebody who secretly just is like zenning it up and having energy drinks all the time.
yeah, Zen. Yeah,
Stay locked in.
Go heavy on the Zen. But actually, yeah, no, I've never been a huge coffee drinker. Never been like anything like that.
Yeah, Nick did get tea last time we hung out. And I was like, "What are you, not American? How did you know?"
Hey, some of us have health concerns. Okay, relax.
Oh, it's true. My bad. Sorry, sir. I forgot the age difference.
I'm getting up there.
My bad. All right. So speaking of cool vehicles, I did think the Passport was cool. I was trying to convincing the wife to get one. She wasn't bought in versus the Mazda. I get it. It's just a different appeal. The Mazda do look.
And Mazda has a little bit more of a curvy design, a little bit more friendly.
Overall, better design in my opinion.
Yeah. But now that Passport looks pretty nice.
It does. It does look pretty good. And another car that looked really good now and also exactly 20 years ago is this beauty here. I'm going to wait. If you're watching, you're going to get the surprise at the same time that Nick does. Boom. From our friends at Low Miles, No
That's
Miles.
what I'm talking about. A Sport Track.
2005 SVT Sport Track. Dude.
Hey, so I saw this. The biggest shame of this vehicle is for all you Sport Track enthusiasts, let's call ourselves enthusiasts that wish they made more of them. And secondly, the fact this one's not drivable. You can't drive it because it's a concept car, I think. And so I don't think you can title it. I think it's a pure
prototype. Yep.
It's a pure museum piece, and I think it's still like $135,000 they were asking for this thing.
Yep, asking $135,000. So for those that aren't watching, it's a 2005 SVT Sport Track. It's a concept/prototype VIN 2005-001. This is the only one ever produced, making it an ultra rare collector's vehicle.
Now, here would be the question:
Okay,
can a shop in some way, and I don't know the rules to this, but I think it's pretty strict. Once the manufacturer labels it prototype, I think it kind of brands the situation. But I wonder if you were like really hooked up with like a DMV in the state and you could get this to a shop and get this thing running and the turn signals and all the electrical figured out. I wonder if you could talk somebody into titling this thing in some kind. This seems like something that could be titled in Florida. Right? Like Florida definitely lets you title this thing.
Absolutely. That's a good
be like, hey, this is a prototype. They're like, just pay the fee, dog. Just pay the fee.
if you're already spending $135 on this, why would you not pay whatever the fee is, right?
Yeah, but dude, I'm telling you, I've been a part. We have some concept cars that one of my collectors has in his collection. We have tried and tried. We had a crazy DMV story with a restored Land Rover, $250,000. Land Rover Defender rebuild, came out of Florida to Nevada. I advised against that, just so everybody's clear. I advised my customer against buying this out of Florida. Got here, it's now been a $250,000 paperweight for going on like 7 years. The DMV blacklisted it here. Said just blackballed it. And by the way, attorneys, massive power brokers inside of Las Vegas, some of my customers couldn't get it through. So it's just been a paperweight for the whole time. Can't get it titled. But we do have other concept cars that aren't those that you can't get them titled. You can't talk into anybody. Once they have that stamp, they kind of have that stamp usually. But I wonder if somebody could work the system here because this needs to be on the road. For all of us sport track lovers, this needs to be on the road.
Listen, man, the reason I had it up for so long and I came back to it just now for those watching on YouTube is this interior. I just think this is perfect.
100%.
The space, the design,
So go back to our Harley Davidson F-150 conversation. If this was the Harley Davidson F-150 interior, everybody would buy them.
This is exactly what it reminds me of, actually. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the flames everywhere.
But if it had SVT in the center or SVT in the seats, that'd be pretty sweet, right?
Yeah, no, I agreed. Yeah, no, this is the perfect use of red on an interior.
Yes, because it's not on the dash, which is the worst.
Yeah.
When you have people that we put
it is crazy to look at that parts bin dash though. That was in every Ford of that period.
Well,
so they're like, "Hey, we're not going to do a special dash on this prototype. Just slap it in there, Doug."
Yeah, but the steering wheels, that's terrible. I hate these steering wheels. I hate those gauges, but I do like the buttons here. Maybe it's button overload for some people these days. That looks awesome.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's this would be something. 135K might be a little steep.
That's
might be a little steep, but if it was drivable, low mileage, not prototype, 135,000 that'd be the starting price at Barrett Jackson.
Let's say it wasn't a prototype. Let's play this little game real quick. I want to see where Nick's brain's at. Not a prototype. You can drive it. It has 5,000 miles on it, and they're like, "All right, what are you willing to offer for it?"
Oh, you'd be in. I mean, somebody with some jack will come in there. I'm telling you.
What's Nick willing to offer if that was a scenario?
If I was willing to offer, I'd probably say like somewhere around 100, but I think it would go for like I think it would go for like 220.
Whoa, really? Like at an auction, you mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Because I'm telling you, if you're talking about something that was never made, you have it. It has the SVT engine in it. There's people that love the sport track. I'm telling you, you think we're the only ones. People like I know guys I'm in like car, group text with that we just send pictures of what we see. Mm-hmm. I'll get a sport track like once a month.
Really?
If it's in good shape, somebody will just take a picture of it like, oh my God, there's a sport track.
What's crazy is that I saw this yesterday, and I was driving, and I saw like an early 2000s one, and in my head I'm like, this is the crazy serendipitous things that just happen. Maybe because you see something, you notice. It's like when you see a car, somebody buys it, you see them all over the place, right? Yeah. Maybe there's more that have been passing by and I didn't notice. But I saw one yesterday, and I was like, I literally looked around like, am I being watched right now? Am I being punked by somebody? Like, how did I just see a sports track?
I just saw this on Instagram. Now I got one next to me. But
I'm getting ads in real life now.
Hey, the thing is, though, isn't it? And this is what's happening to all those kinds of cars. When you see them in bad shape, you're just like, oh, man. You're like, damn.
It was one of those where it was like probably 6, 7 like that, and it was just
sport track Eddie Bauer in good condition. Boy, oh boy.
Eesh. But it's been raining all the time, so maybe I'll give him a bit of an excuse here lately.
You took his plate down because you're going to track him down and go, hey, let me see that thing after it's washed.
Yeah. Take easy how you phrase that, okay? Okay. I'm not trying to see that thing when it's washed, Nick. All right. I did see that there's just now an 08, 07. Where's it at? It had a V8 in it. None of these came with V8s, did they? There's an adrenaline prototype that was built with a supercharged 4.6 V8. Ooh.
Hey, on low miles, no miles. Did you see that Bonneville?
Mm-mm.
I've never seen such a clean. I didn't see clean Bonnevilles that clean when they were new. I was like, how is this thing so clean?
How are most of these things so clean? Dude, they'll post things up here, and I'm like, where? How? Like, what's going on?
Dude, I'm in the same boat as you. Like, shout out to that page, man. Those guys are doing. That's the Lord's work right there, Robert.
It really is.
I mean, for guys like you and I, that's like, when I log into Instagram, just so we're clear, that's where I'm going.
Hell yeah, that's cool. The guys are really cool. They've sent us a lot of DMs like, hey, man, thanks for sharing. Like, love the podcast. It's really cool.
Man, I love what they're doing. Look at that thing.
But I did see this Eldorado. Look at this clean-ass Eldorado.
So I'm going to give you a sad Eldorado story. My next-door neighbor here, he sells all those, like, one-wheels and electrical scooters at my shop here. Cool dude. He has got an Eldorado that he parks next to my overhead door. Mm-hmm. It is so trashed that like every time I pull in, I'm like, come on, man. That's an Eldorado.
Are you trying to get him to clean it up or what?
Buddy, you might as well just find one. This is one of those ones you go, yeah, I'll just find a better example somewhere.
Dang, that's a bummer.
Yeah. I actually had you remember that company that did Pimp My Rides?
Yes.
Okay.
Was it West Coast Customs, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that was who they
Yeah.
were. We had an Eldorado that they did for one of my customers that I came in after they did business with them. This thing was the biggest hunk of shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, paint was decent. Like, it looked like windows wouldn't roll properly. When they reassembled this car, so we ended up having to go in and get all of these things to get this. But I'm telling you, I drove that thing because the customer never drove it, so it needed to be driven just to kind of keep it, where it wasn't in bad shape. I think those things are pimp. Like,
I don't disagree. Yeah, I agree with
to
you.
me, it's like the suicide door Lincoln Continental. Like, somebody wants to give me one, I'm in. Like, those are vehicles, and we saw one at Barrett Jackson. I'm like I'm looking at all the details. Nobody else is that excited because there's a Ferrari over here, and there's this. I'm like, man, look at that Lincoln Continental. It's like,
Well,
I don't know, man. I'm just into those big boats that
like, is Nick okay over here?
nobody builds it anymore.
He's like, Nick had one too many
The
zips.
problem, is, by the way, when that went through the block, it got over the block, it got bought, and then it completely broke down before it got out of the auction. I was like, I don't even care. How much you want for it?
I'll take it. Take my money. One thing I saw recently was, because I saw it also on Low Miles, No Miles, but it was a video of a guy, had to been a kid, driving what was it? Yeah, quad cab, sorry, SRT 10 Ram. And he wrecked it. Did you see it? The whole wheel came off, the rear wheel.
Hey, was that close to our buddy Marshall?
Was it?
I think that happened close to our headquarters. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, are you for real?
And I think so. I think so. I think wasn't he leaving like a car meet?
Yes, he was. Dude, so it reminded me of this because I saw this posted on Low Miles.
Oh, yeah.
2004 single cab. I like single cabs a lot, but I just never pull the trigger on one. I always feel like a quad cab or at least an extended cab just makes way more sense. But look at this thing.
That thing is so sick.
Are you in the same boat as me with single cabs, or do you prefer them?
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, but look, you got to really just have nobody in your life. You got to be like, or this has got to be like a fifth car or a fourth car or whatever.
Just me on the road. It's all I need.
Lightnings, SRT 10s. Oh, I'm going to say this. Can we get a bed liner in there? I mean,
oh yeah, you're right.
Can we get a bed liner in there? But no, man, I think those things are sick. And I had a buddy of mine that had an SRT 10 blue with the white stripes. So I did bust his balls about the stripes every time we hung out.
Stripes.
I mean, I was like, did that give you, how much more horsepower do them stripes give you, boy?
Give him 10 more patriotic horsepower.
Yeah, he was a cool dude, man. I think, and I believe, don't quote me on this, him and I don't really talk much, maybe once a year. I think he still has it.
Ooh.
I think he still has it. Yeah.
You should find out. Well, if you don't talk, next time you do talk to him, if you happen to remember, be like, hey, you still got that SRT Ram?
I'll put a picture on Instagram and be like, yep, this thing has survived 20 years.
Hell yeah, you should. I bet you has too if he's kept the low miles off of it and didn't whip it into a curb where the whole wheel assembly came off.
I got to ask you this because I'm not in that. There seems to be this, and people will be like, well, no kidding. There seems to be this thing with car meetups now. Mm-hmm. What's with all the wrecking?
What a boomer question for starters.
Yeah, I'm just asking.
What's with all the wrecking?
I mean, I'm just asking. What's with everybody just like wreck? I mean, I like my cars too much to want to do that. I guess what is happening here? Is it like a total Instagram play, social media play? Like what?
I think it is. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't, because of I just had a distaste for all of what was, I'm not using them specifically, but the coffee and cars type of events that would pop up because in Houston, before I moved to the Central Texas area, you'd have pretty good shows periodically, and then too many burnouts, and this place no longer lets you go and set up there, or too much of a disruption, and now this business, strip doesn't let you do it there anymore, and they just kind of died out. And then the ones that were left, all the people that made the other ones not good, all go to one and congregate and just complete act a fool. Like that's all there is to it. Just all for social media clout.
Yeah, and like I said, if there's some type of money thing I'm missing here, like, hey, when they wreck their truck, they get all these views and they make, millions of dollars, then okay. But I just like my vehicles too much to like be around it. And I'm hearing this a lot from people that have nice cars you'd want to see at the shows. They kind of said what you just said. But the part I didn't understand, and I say this all the time to the guys behind, that text me or, we talk, they're car people. I'm like, I just don't know why you'd want to screw your vehicle up.
Yeah,
the car show used to be about showcasing your vehicle and getting your vehicle home safe. And now it's like, let's just go crazy. I mean, I've like seen dudes get hit by exhaust and like their clothes get burnt off. I mean, I'm sure you've seen those kind of videos. Like, what the fuck's going on at these places?
What are these things called? Not sideshows. Are they sideshows or
No, are they called flash mobs? What are they called? You called me the boomer. You don't even know what they're called.
That's what I said. We're both sounding like boomers. Man, dude, it's escaping me. I have no idea, but people know what we're talking about. Where it's just people just literally just whipping into other people like bowling ball pins
Dude.
every weekend.
But I got news for you. I do watch the videos.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm as guilty as anybody. I'm like, what's this idiot about to do?
You know
I told
me feel
you
better about myself.
100%. And I'm going to tell you this. I sent you a text yesterday. So I sent you this video off Instagram.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things on the internet is watching these like Eastern European bloc people do upgrades to their cars because they just bolt shit everywhere. It's like the
appeal?
Dude,
What's the appeal?
I don't know, man. Like this guy had an Audi, right? The video I sent you, he has an Audi. Right. The Audi has a screen. He's holding up this screen that's like 3 times the size. And so I'm like, I wonder if I'm dead serious. This is my mindset. I'm like, how's he going to get this inside the dash? Wrong.
Nah.
He just put it right on the dash, showed you the 2 drill holes he put in. And so now it just covers up the screen and then all of the passenger side dash. And I'm like, exactly right. Just get it on there, dog. I don't know why, man. That all of that stuff is so entertaining to me. It's like a sickness. I get caught down the rabbit hole and it's like one. So if you go, I can't even read the comments because it's not even in, I have to hit C translation all the time.
Yeah.
Dude, it's the best.
That one didn't even have the comments on. And the exact words were, fuck it, stick it there. It was the text that I got.
Dude.
And there was no comments available. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That made me sick.
They just have guys like buffing cars out in parking lots. Like, dude, it's
sick to my stomach.
It's the best. It's the best stuff on the internet to me.
Oh my god. Well, I'm glad that the listeners can now be aware of one of your sicknesses here.
Oh, it's totally sick. I mean, it's totally sick. Low miles, no miles, and then these Russian dudes just plopping screens in the middle of their Audi, going, "Hey, this is what you should do."
Everyone's got to have a good and a bad vice. Low miles, no miles up, and then the Russian, Middle Eastern, whatever. Like, I'll stick it here, crowd.
Oh, it's the best.
All right. Before we head out today, I'm going to mention 2 more things. Let's see. So there's another Toyota recall. I don't know if you're familiar with this.
Well, I'm shocked. People told me that doesn't happen.
The way it's being reported, all right, everybody brace yourselves here, over 100,000 Toyota Tacomas have been recalled because of mud. Now, That's the headline. Exactly. Way to write a good headline, Edmunds and everyone else, because they pretty much use the same headline. But to give you the root cause here, Toyota will issue notices by early April of replacing brake hoses because they can get too dirty and the rear brake hoses will get worn through and not work.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, look, I'll on Toyota's behalf, these kind of recalls happen all the time.
Yeah.
Millions and millions of recalls all the time. Stuff happens. But it is starting to build on Toyota here in the last 24 to 36 months. This is just something that you didn't see on this level, right? I mean, first engine, did you see a guy put 200,000 miles on his Tundra?
He did.
And they're going to replace the engine?
Yep.
So the headline was like, well, see, they can last really long, but he's still going to get a new engine.
The one exception.
Yeah, not the 42 that have blown up and had to be trailered into the, the dealership. But look, this is normal, so everybody knows we don't pick on Toyota. I know we kind of came online right when Toyota started to have some problems, which is why I think people think that we're saying a lot about Toyota. You just don't see this out of them. But the brake line and stuff like that stuff just kind of happens. I mean,
what a way to sensationalize it, I guess, is also kind of my point. Like, these publications, like, it's kind of a slow news day. What are we going to do? Toyota brake lines are getting dirty and wearing out. Okay.
Well, look, I just had rain, so I'm concerned about it. So I'm going to go back to my Lexus and go, hey, how are the brake lines here? We finally got some. Dude, I was off-road and just through puddles. I'm telling you, it was like a true off. If I had a ladder, I'd have climbed on the top of my thing, been like, look at all this,
Yeah, you will. Like I said in the comments, you see all the people that were sending in their questions when I put that out there because they want you to put a ladder back there.
Yeah, so let's talk about this, okay? First of all, this is a call out to anybody that manufactures aftermarket parts for the LX470, okay? With a caveat, okay? We did get a couple people reach out on mats, and gave me a good lead, and we're in talks with that company. They're very high quality. I don't know how I forgot about that company. They're very big in the vintage Porsche, vintage Mercedes world. So thank you for that recommendation. But I want people to understand that I think there's something to be done here because I see a lot of bad upgrades. Okay? Bad upgrades. We don't do bad. We don't
One more
do
time for the algorithm. Let's say that one more time. Let's say it again for the
bad upgrades.
Okay.
Okay? We don't do bad upgrades here. Okay? We don't do that. It's not how we roll. So, if you're somebody that goes, hey, check out mine, look at this high quality front bumper, look at this cool bumper I did on the back. Look, I'm not going to be, trying to push trains down, so I don't need a big, huge grill that goes all around my headlights and all that kind of stuff. But you got cool stuff, send it in, right? We need some ideas. I need to start planning this thing. I need to see if it really fits. We already have a picture you and I have that we're going off of that's an elite build. But the first thing you said and I said is that's an elite build.
Yeah.
Okay? And part of an elite build is picking the right parts that look the best on the car. Right?
Yes.
That's, we're not doing like a JDM 19-year-old don't have any money build here. Okay? We're trying to do this thing right. And everybody knows what I'm talking about here. We love our JDM guys, but look, some of the builds, not the highest quality. Okay?
There we go. Call to action is send in the goods. Send in the good stuff.
Yeah, the good stuff, the highest quality, the most reputable companies, preferably, let me add another thing to this.
Oh, okay.
If it's made in America.
Yes.
If it's made in America, the mats that I am talking to the company, they are made 100% in America. So I would like to, if it's not possible, it's not possible, but we would like to partner, bring your company in, whatever, to do this build, because I think we could make good content around these vehicles that are getting more and more popular because there's less and less low mileage ones. I think there's an opportunity here to show people how to do things on a little bit higher quality level.
I love it. With that said, I'm going to have one more to get your perspective on because you brought it up and I thought it was interesting. But before we do, last time, I don't remember what position I said we were on the charts. We are now in the top 50 of Apple US charts. So
here we go.
Leave us some more comments. Leave us some more ratings and reviews. As we get a bunch of them, we'll read them on the show. If they're
Rob
cool.
only wants the 5-star ones. No 4, no 3, no 2, no 1.
You leave a 4, I will find you.
We will make a comment. This guy is an idiot.
You will be a hardo indefinitely on the podcast.
Banned for life.
Yeah, banned for sure. Banned, and we'll never get any extra
like Pete
content.
Rose, banned from baseball.
It's baseball season, baby. Yes.
Hey, just so we're clear, it's a soft subject with me. I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan, so
That's right.
I got just so we're clear, coolest memorabilia I have. Sports Illustrated, mint condition, the whole thing when he was Sportsman of the Year, signed by Pete Rose. Got it signed here in Vegas. It's awesome.
Okay, I can't believe I forgot this, but I'm glad I'm bringing it up, and I swear I'll get to the last subject of cars. There was a neighbor in our neighborhood, older lady, very nice lady. They'll have community garage sales. You even talked about this one time, I think, on Pints and Polishing, where it can be a cool thing. It's like farmer's market. It can be a cool thing, right? She just put out there and said on the community group, hey, cleaning out garage. I want the stuff out of my house. Whoever wants it, get it. Bunch of sports memorabilia. Dude, I shit you not, I have 3 totes of baseball cards. I have 4 binders of baseball cards. And I have 2 Ziploc gallon bags of signed baseballs. One of them was from the Subway Series World Series.
Get out of town.
Yes. And I have a ton of other ones to go through. My wife and I haven't had time to sit. She's just like, I know these are valuable. I know these are probably going to, they're worth something. You guys can have them. I was like, okay, dude.
So what? Her husband died. She's like, I hated that dude the whole time. Get rid of his stuff.
That's what I said as a joke. But dude, so my wife got an app where you can scan it, you can get the values of it, potential market value, and then it also organizes all of your collection. So we're already at 1,000 cards. We haven't scratched the surface. Yeah,
one of the coolest things I had baseball card wise is I had uncut sheets of baseball cards that cool. I'm sure they're in an attic in one of my family's house where it was framed. Mm-hmm. They tops uncut sheet and just in perfect condition, had all kinds of different ones. But yeah, dude, baseball cards, I wish I would have, to be honest with you, I kind of envy the people that kind of stayed with that hobby. Not just because it meant a lot to me, because I used to get the Beckett in the mail. Did you get the Beckett in the mail?
Mm-mm.
So you used to get this thing called the Beckett. and the Beckett would come in, and you would literally, they'd have millions of cards, and you have to look up the value of your card in the Beckett.
Oh, that's cool.
And then that's how you traded them with your friends. Like, hey, I got this Ken Griffey card. You got this one. Do you want to trade? But it was all done off the Beckett. And you'd have cards that would say up 10 cents, up $1, down $1.
Cool.
It was great.
I got into baseball heavily like after I'd already graduated high school. Like it was one of those things. I was already like 18, 19. Then I started
Like right when Houston got good, one of those guys?
No, they didn't. It was way later. That's not true. Actually, I have an Uno the card game. I have a Killer Bees edition with Bagwell, Biggio, and Birkin. So
nice.
I didn't watch it as a young kid, but I didn't really get into it. I didn't graduate. Hey, relax, okay? It was like 26.
I had to make the joke. I just had to know when the bandwagon started here. That's all.
That team's gone. All that's left is Altuve. Everyone is gone from the 2017 World Series.
And he's probably the guy they should have got rid of. It's like, hey, let's keep the other ones.
Oof.
No, like I said, man, they had to hit the reset button. They've been good for a long time.
Yeah. By the way, that's the 2000 World Series was the Mets Yankees. So that was the
And FYI, the Reds haven't been good since 1990.
Ever?
1990. Oh, we did sweep the A's. I mean, let's relax. I mean, we did sweep the A's. I mean,
you did a little bit of work.
That was 1990. I was 8 years old.
Okay, I just want to get your last thoughts on this because you actually saw it in person, and we'll let listeners go out with a rant on your thoughts of what is the, I guess, 2025? Is it 25? Yeah, the Cadillac EV, Escalade EV. Okay, it starts at 127. Real quick, we'll give the people 127.7. You could start here for the base one, or you can go up to, I think it's 160 or 70.
Yep. I'm going to say something pretty quick here. This has the potential to lose 60% value in the first year. This is a candidate to cross over the 50% lost value in a single year. And it's really simple why. You're going to buy an Escalade, and looks-wise, let me be clear, looks pretty good. Until you start to look at the back seats and realize I just bought an Escalade that nobody can fit in. You can't fit in the thing. Like, essentially, if your kids are like 2 years old, they can fit back there. But as soon as they hit 5, you're like, man, it's kind of tight back here. It weighs 8,500 pounds or 83 and some change or 82 and some change. The charging is rather fast according to them, but it takes a lot to charge, obviously being that big. I don't mind companies trying stuff. I would ask this question. Did nobody sit in the back? So I always have this conversation in my head, and I'm sure most of our listeners do too, and you do as well. When you get in a car and you drive it, you go, did anybody at the manufacturer actually drive this thing? Did you guys actually sit in the back seat and go, hey guys, let's take, this is supposed to be a 7-passenger vehicle. Did you actually take 7 people in the vehicle at any point in the development?
By your reaction, they must not have, because it sounds like it's a terrible experience.
And by the way, if they did, they all sat there cramped and go, this is it. We made it. It's like, bud, it's a 7-passenger vehicle.
Like, hey, kids, get in the back. Tell us what you think.
Yeah. Was it the CEO and like 6 2-year-olds in there, and they go, hey, everybody fits in here great. But like nobody from the executive team got like 5 guys or 5 gals together and said, hey, let's hop in here and drive around and you tell me what you think. How does this happen? I'm really curious about that. And we get a lot of people that work for manufacturers now reaching out to us. Mm-hmm. If you are at Cadillac, can you explain to me how you made this vehicle and seemingly never put 7 people in the vehicle to see if they could fit in there?
But it's got 750 horsepower.
Dude, that's what I mean. That's what people will say. And you'll have Cadillac like defenders in our comments. They'll be like, it's still nicer than everything. It's like, buddy, I'm just saying you can't fit in the back seat.
Yeah, we did. There's a lot of those, actually. We did a couple of clips on the, again, we talked about it in the past, about a month ago, but the Black Label Navigator versus the Escalade. And we had some diehard Escalade fans who were leaving aggressive comments, but then ended up following us. So they were cool. I mean, that was cool. I'm cool with that. But they're like, no way. It's not even close. It's not Black Label.
I'll tell you what's not close. This Escalade being anywhere near a 7-passenger vehicle. You might get 3 people in there, and the guy has to sit in the very back in the middle to be able to stretch his legs out in the aisleway. Like, I don't know what they did here. Like, people are going to buy it. Let me be clear. They will sell some of these. We know they'll sell some of them. This is one of those vehicles. There's no way that guy fits back there. He's got to be 5'3".
It's an executive second row. This looks like a ton of space.
Buddy, I'm telling you, you can see it in person. And I think people are doing videos on them. So you can go to car YouTubers. I guarantee you somebody's doing a vehicle on this. They can't fit back there. You cannot fit back. Now, the $160,000 one may have an executive package that has more room in the second row. I'm not saying that's not possible. But again, do you want to pay $160,000 for an Escalade?
16-way power heated ventilated seats with lumbar massage. But you're ramped up like this when you're sitting there. I'm
just sweating. Just sweating. Yeah, we had to put a lot of AC in those seats because you're going to be cramped in here. Like, how does this have less room than like the old Grand Coupes had in the back seat? I don't understand that.
What's crazy is if that's the case, and not saying which model it is, it has this, because they're highlighting this executive second row, all the space it has, all the cargo space. It's got the dimensions for leg, head, and hip. It's like, okay, is that only on one?
Okay, so let me show everybody. Pull the picture back up of like, can you get a side profile of one?
Absolutely.
So here's the point. When you start to see the back end of the car going down, see, this is sort of the problem with all the sporty SUVs you can buy. The Mercedes, the BMW like X6M. Let's use X6M as a way of looking at it. The second seat, if you have anybody in the back has height, the roof going down makes it feel more cramped in there, and you're closer to the ceiling. Everything, you feel like you have to hunch over to fit. So they kind of did this a little bit. I mean, I'm guessing to get more mileage out of the battery, whatever. I realized that they had to do some of the aerodynamics. But the problem is, if you see the inside of it, it looks like the roof is going down from the second row to the third row, that it continues to go down on the interior. So you go, okay, I don't have a ton of leg room, and I'm losing headroom. This feels really tight. And the third, there is no grown-up that can fit in that third row. I can tell you that right now. That's
just reminds me of the 4Runner third row. Like, unless you're 2 feet tall, like, you just can't fit back there. That's a shame.
Yeah, and like I said, somebody explained to me how EV adoption is going to go up when this is more than the Cadillac V Escalade.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Nah, no way. Out the door. It's
60%. I'm telling you, this could be old school McLaren. This could be a 60% depreciation.
We're going to see it. Everybody, if you want to follow us, we're all over the internet at Clutch Culture Pod. And if you have some suggestions, questions, stories, or if you've got parts or you manufacture parts and you want to reach out, clutchculturepodcast@gmail.com is the email. Guys, we will see you next week.
See you guys.